guys, what's up? So here's the video that everybody has been asking for. They have been wondering about. I wanted to address one thing before because I was reading a lot of the comments from the first video, which was titled I was too young to get married. I'll link it down below if you haven't seen that yet. A lot of people were saying you used that boy just to get out of your house for money. That's not true. I think I really want to make another separate video talking about it, but I just want to clarify, he was not used. I did love him. Like, that's primarily the reason why I married him, but I was just stating, like, I felt like I had to do it. That was one of the ways to get me out of my house. I don't know, separate video explaining it a little bit more. It's just, there was a lot of nasty comments that really bothered me, and that's why I am really closed off about this stuff. But it's okay, like, I try to prepare myself for that. But anyways, this isn't what this is about. Oh, also, I just wanted to shout out that I do have merch now, and I love it so much. A lot of people's bought it. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna have the merch. I'm gonna leave a link down below for that too if you want to match me. I have more than hoodies because I know summer's coming up. I have t-shirts too. If you want to match me, you should totally check out the merch. But anyways. Okay, so divorce. I have a video titled My Mother-in-Law Caused My Divorce, and I'll link that below as well. That's a whole story in itself. There was more to it. There were way more to it. Divorcing someone within a year. Wow. Why would you do that? How can you do that? What made you do that? Well, I dated this guy for 4 years. I was so sure about him, and it sounds completely crazy. As soon as we got married, or kind of as soon as we got engaged, that's when things started getting a little weird. Weird for me. I knew that I loved him. I was like, this is a man that I want to be with. I've shared so much with already, and I waited for him to get back from Afghanistan. Like, why would I be having these thoughts? And I think the first thing that triggered me was we took a trip to Pennsylvania, and this was when he was in the military. He's not in the military anymore. He actually, I don't know the terms, but he, you know, you get out of the military. I don't know the word for it because I'm stupid. Resigned? I don't know. Let's just say resigned from the military. He was in the reserves, so he could do that. I liked that he was in the military. I liked that he was doing that because it kept him in shape. It kept him doing things and traveling and whatnot. I thought that was really cool. It kept us doing stuff, and then he just, like, didn't want to be in it anymore, and that's his own thing. Like, I don't know why he didn't want to, but anyways, we took a trip to Hershey, Pennsylvania. This is when I started noticing he was getting really snappy with me. And it was that little stuff that really didn't make any sense. If I had to describe it, he was very anxious. It was to the point where I was scared if I said anything wrong that it would turn into a fight or it would turn him against me. We went on that trip. It was a military trip, so I met all of his friends. I think it was the first night I actually had like a couple of drinks and felt a little tipsy, so I thought that that was fun. Like, I was still in my mother's care, still living with her. I think I had to lie and say that his mom was going so I could go, but obviously she didn't go. It was just me and him. My mom just couldn't stand the thoughts of me and my fiance sleeping in a bed together in a hotel. Whatever. I had a little fun, but that's when I started noticing, like, he was getting anxious. A lot of anxiety, and that was after he got back from his Afghanistan mission, and I kept saying to myself, like, he can't help it. Be patient, and I was so patient with him. I'm human. I get my feelings hurt, so there was once that we were, like, exploring Pennsylvania, and he snapped at me in front of his friends. Of course, it was, like, completely embarrassing. He even snapped at his friends once, and I'm just like, what's wrong with you? Fast forward a couple of months later, there was another military trip to Washington, D.C. Same thing happened. Snappy, anxious. It was just really difficult to be around him, but I kept saying, like, maybe this is from when he was in Afghanistan. Maybe some things like triggering him. Maybe he was anxious. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. He sure wouldn't talk to me about it, even though I asked so many times. I really don't know anything about his deployment besides, like, he was military police and he guarded, like, Afghani prisoners. I don't even know if Afghani is the right term. Please, like, I know I'm ignorant with words, but that's all I know that he did. Other than that, like, I'm not saying that's not difficult or anything, but that could have put a strain on his mentality. That's when I decided, like, okay, this is getting kind of hard because you're not really working with me, and that's when our fighting really began. I was planning the wedding around this time, so, like, you know, I can't back out now, like, do or die, right? That's the little things that I noticed, but I didn't think like, oh my god, I don't want to marry him. I still wanted to marry him. I still loved the being that he was. I mean, it just made me nervous. Before we got married, he started like calming down a little bit, but I mean, not that much. So obviously I'm not going to remember any of these time frames. I just remember little stories that happened that were really bad, and I'm going to tell you some of them. So I don't know if this was in the correct order or not. These are just stories to show you, like, this is how I knew. This is what I wanted. So sit back and listen. So I'm going to begin with when we were married, when we were living together. Some things that really bothered me. He worked night shift. That's okay. I didn't care about that. That was fine. I had my own time, but I was bored. I had no friends. Lonely. Completely lonely. Had my family, but I mean, you know, I had no one to share my time with. I was alone. I had my cats, though. Usually on his days off, he really liked playing Xbox, staying on Xbox Live with his friend, his buddy from the military, and they would chat online all night long, and, you know, I had really nothing to do. I would stay in the living room with him. That's where he was. And I'd get super bored and just go to bed. I'd stay up and scroll through Facebook. This was before I was on the internet, by the way. I was super bored, had nothing to do. And then I would go to sleep, I'd wake up, and they would be like, oh my god, how many cans are in a pack of Bud Light? Like those big packs. I'm gonna guess 12. Let's just throw that out there and say that there were 12. 12 cans on the floor next to the recliner that he would sit in. I am going to say I thought it was a little weird, but he would tell me, like, I like to have me a beer after work, or I'd like to, you know, relax, and it helps me relax. I'm like, 12? Like, Jesus Christ. But they would all be all laying in the floor, all lined up. I'm like, can't you freaking throw them away? And I'm a neat freak. I'm really clean, and he would always leave them out. It would piss me off to no end that, one, he was drinking just like almost every single night like that. Two, he wouldn't clean up after himself, and we're both living here. Like, I'm not your maid. That was my attitude towards him. You know, like, women, you a wife, you out there, and your man, like, leaves his socks out, whatever. But if he's leaving a bunch of beer cans out, like, come on, that would piss you off too. There would be, like, plates out, he wouldn't wash his dishes, just, that shit really made me mad. Because I would say it nice, like, hey, can you clean up after yourself? Next day, hoping that he approves himself, he doesn't. So they're just all laying out, beer cans and all. So anyways, pissed me off. By the way, we did not, like, with our money, with our funds, I worked with my grandfather. I had my money and he had his. We didn't put it into a combined bank account. We really did things separately. Whenever we went to the grocery store, we would usually go halvesies. He would usually talk me into paying for the whole thing. So just so the people know that think that I mooched off him, honey. It's the other way around. I was paying for everything. That was a lot to deal with, the drinking. So keep the drinking in mind for right now. I told you guys that I was super lonely, had no friends, and this is when I discovered Musical.ly, okay? I was married when I discovered Musical.ly. I tried the app out, didn't like it. For some reason, wanted it again, and I got it again, and I got on it, and it was weird because I woke up the next morning and I had like 1,000 likes on a video, and me and my sister was like, what the heck? Like, why do I have that? Long story short, I can tell you like how I became like YouTuber, Musical.ly. I'm not gonna say I became famous, but how I became well known. I can make that in another story time, so if you want that, make sure you comment down below or thumbs it up. I showed him and he didn't really think anything of it. He was just like, oh wow, that's cool, that's awesome, like, cool that you're making videos like that, because I mean, Musically, like, it's a video platform, and I was usually doing like comedy videos on there while everybody else was lip syncing. I was doing like the comedy voiceovers. I started to grow and grow, and he did not like that at all. I kept trying to talk to him about it, but he just was slowly getting more pissed off. How I told you before, like, I would stay in the living room with him while he played Xbox talking to his friend, wasn't really acknowledging my existence, you know, like, I was kind of just there. And now I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go make some musicals in the bedroom, and I had like a little light set up and everything, and I would stay in there for hours, like while he was on Xbox, he was doing his thing. He started to get jealous, and then my Instagram started growing. He didn't have Instagram, so he couldn't like check up on me that I know of. I was growing progressively, and I would constantly try to talk to him, involve him, and he just would not have it at all. Like, he was getting pissed. And then I remember there was one night where I had that app called Kick or Keek, or I think it's Kick, and it's like one of those messaging apps, and I would tell some of the people that were supporting me, and it was all new to me. I was just trying to talk to my supporters. I was like, hey, like, come download Kick and we'll talk. And I remember I was talking to people all night long, just telling them how much I like appreciated them, like, thank you for watching my videos, like, this is so awesome that you even like enjoy watching me. And I remember I was, you know, replying back for maybe an hour and just staring at my phone. He didn't exist almost, and I just remember he went to the kitchen and I heard sniffling and he was crying his eyes out. He was telling me, like, you don't love me anymore, you forgot about me, which to me was a little insane, because maybe I gave off that vibe because I found something that I enjoyed. He did not have my full attention, and that really bothered him. Well, anyways, fast forward, that's a whole story itself. I can talk about like how I grew on Musically and YouTube, and how he thought, because he hated it, so I can talk about that in another video. During that time is when I also decided to make a YouTube channel, or I had a YouTube channel, I was just starting to post on it. That would really embarrass him. Like, he was so embarrassed to go to work because people were talking about me, and I was like slowly growing, so I wasn't anything. Like, I had a few views, maybe like 3,000 views on a video, but not that much, and I was growing because of my Musically. And I made a dancing video. It was like, bet you can't do it like me challenge. Oh, he was so embarrassed of that. And that is just me. I was like, I'm gonna put videos out there that are me. Like, it shows my personality. Hated it so much. I don't remember if I put this in the video where I talk about my mother-in-law caused my divorce. You'll get a lot of insight on that, so you probably need to go watch that. He made me decide over making videos or him, and obviously I decided him. Like, I was married, like, I tried. So I quit making videos for like 2 months, and then I was like, oh my god, I found joy. I love this so much, and he's taking it away from me. I begged him. I told him, like, I promise, like, I'll spend more time with you. Like, this isn't going to be my life. I just want to enjoy doing something, and I really like doing that. He said okay. He was like, okay, fine, but like the first time you F up, like, it's done, it's over. So he was threatening me with that, but I took it. I continued to make videos, but I wasn't doing it as much, and I wasn't doing social media as much. I really slowed down on it, but I was still doing it, which made me really happy. I tried to liven up our relationship by taking like little getaway trips. With my money, I paid for the hotel. I even said that I would. We went to, it was about an hour and 30 minutes away, to this, it's like a city, and it has like a bunch of restaurants, and it's not like nightlife, but it was like fun getaway, you know. It wasn't too far, but we went there, got a hotel. I think we actually went to a movie, went back to our hotel. They had like and they were having karaoke night too. I was ordering us drinks. I paid for the drinks too. I paid for the tab. I was getting a little tipsy, and then the night was getting a little heated up. People were getting a little crazy, and I remember there was these people at a table, and a bunch of people. It was a bunch of boys and girls, and they're about our age. I had a lot of fun talking to them. Like, YouTube started to get me out of my little zone of I'm going to stay quiet, I'm going to keep to myself. You know, doing YouTube really has helped me. And whenever I saw those people, I wasn't scared to talk like I usually was. And that's how my husband saw me, like a shy little girl. Like I kept to myself. He was the one that talked. He was the one that talked about himself. Like, yeah, I'm in the military, like when they asked. And, you know, people would, like, he would be the center of attention. So whenever I was talking to these people, like I was trying to start conversation and they asked me what I did and I was like, well, I work at an insurance firm with my granddad, but I also do YouTube on the side. And they're like, man, that's cool. Let me see your YouTube channel. They checked out my YouTube channel. I think I had like 20,000 subscribers at the time. And they were like, man, that's so awesome. My husband was getting so heated, so angry, but I didn't acknowledge. I didn't know. It's not that I didn't acknowledge it. I really did not know he was getting mad. I was so happy that I was talking to people, guys. You have no idea how much of like a homebody I was, how I couldn't find friends. And I was taking pictures with them. And then I think I got drunk enough to sing karaoke. So that probably shows you I was pretty drunk. So I went on stage with one of the guys. Wasn't flirting with me at all. Wasn't doing anything. None of the guys were flirting with me because they knew that he was my husband. Like, why would they do that? Yeah, I went on stage and we sang A Whole New World by Aladdin. And I'm pretty sure I was screaming to the top of my lungs. I don't think I sounded pretty, but I was having such a good time, smiling ear to ear, just so happy. And whenever we went up to the hotel, he wasn't mad. Trust me. I know that he wasn't mad. He wasn't acting mad. Like, he acted fine. Or maybe he was just really drunk. I don't know. Woke up the next morning, and I felt okay, but I was craving caffeine, so I got like a bottle of Coke from the lobby in the hotel and I chugged it and then I was like, oh shoot, I don't feel good. And I think it was around 11 and usually at 12 you need to check out a hotel. It was close to checkout time and I was getting ready to puke my guts out. And while I was sitting on the toilet, or not sitting on the toilet, but like I had my hair back, I was like leaned over like this and I was like, oh my god, I don't feel good. And he's like, you need to get up. He was like, we need to go. And I'm like, well, I'm sick right now. Obviously, I can't. And he's like, no, but you're going to get us charged. And I'm like, you didn't freaking pay for it. Like, it's on my card. What are you talking about? He was like, okay, fine. Like, just being an ass to me. And I finally threw up. I got it out of my system. Like, you would think that he would, like, hold my hair back or something. Like, Adrian, like, I've thrown up before with him. And he has held my hair, rubbed my back, just made sure I was okay. I know it's, like, a different relationship, but, like, still, like, this guy didn't have the decency. He was, like, trying to boot me out of the room even though he's not paying for it. So I didn't really understand. I went to talk to him, and I'm like, hey, like, what's wrong? He was like, nothing's wrong. So, I mean, what else can I do? Like, I don't want to badger him with questions if nothing's wrong. So, I was, like, making small talk with him, trying to take the conversation somewhere else. And I was like, wow, I really don't remember, like, singing last night. And I remember he made, like, a really rude comment, like, yeah, you caused everyone to leave with your loud-ass voice. Okay? Like, what have I done to you? It came out of nowhere. We were fighting, arguing, and then I just kept my mouth closed. I'm like, I'm not going to talk to you. So for that whole trip, the trip was like an hour and 30 minutes. I was driving home and we did not say a word to each other till we were like maybe 25 minutes away from home. We were in a dead zone, no cell service whatsoever. I decided to turn on some music. And that's when, like, I didn't really listen to my music around him. He's more of a country guy. I was listening to like bands and I couldn't even listen to them because he would make fun of them. So I would never listen to my music. You know what? I was being like a bitch, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn on my music. I don't give a shit. You're not even talking to me and I'm driving, so I need to stay awake. So I turn on Sleeping with Sirens. He hits the volume button really hard. Doesn't say anything. And then, of course, I hit it. I'm like, you're not going to turn this off. So I hit it and I turn back on the music. Then he hits it again and he hits it really hard. And we're in my car, by the way. And I'm like, don't you hit my shit. And then I go to turn it back on. He grabs my hand and he twists it. And I'm thinking, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, he's taking my hand and he's twisting it. I'm like, oh my god, you're hurting me. It didn't feel good. It wasn't, like, something to scream about, but still, like, I didn't know what he was going to do. He's stronger than me. So I pull over in this gravel spot. I'm like, don't you dare ever lay a hand on me again. Find your own ride. I put him out on the road because we're arguing in a car, and I never think that's a good idea to be doing that. We're not even in a good place anyways. So I put him out on the road. There's not really any cell service. No, that wasn't smart of me to do that, but I was so pissed off and done with him at that point. Like, why would you treat me like this? I try to take you out, do something nice for you, do something nice for us, and this is what it's come to. So I put him out. I think about coming back, and I don't. I keep going. I think I get almost home and I pass his brother, so I'm like, okay, like his brother's coming to get him. That's fine. At least somebody's coming to get him. That's when I knew it was pretty much over, but it wasn't. Like, we still tried after that. We tried and we tried and we tried, and it just didn't work. We said a lot of ugly things to each other, things that whenever we had another fight we would bring up, and nobody would say they were sorry. So it was a lot of resentment. It was a lot of hostility. The drinking constantly happened. There was nothing I could do to tell him no, I can't. Like, I didn't even know if he had a problem at that point, because I didn't want to make it out to be like it was a problem. I was scared that it was. And what made me feel like, whoa, this is weird, is whenever I saw like one of those little bottles of Fireball stuffed in the cabinet in the kitchen, like all the way back hidden on the top shelf. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I found another one. We had a apartment that had 2 bedrooms, and one of the bedrooms had like his guns in it and stuff, and a bunch of like of his boxes and his military stuff. And I found an alcohol bottle of Fireball in there too. And I'm like, and it was hidden, by the way. So like, if you have to hide it and if you can't have it out, like, I'm thinking you have an issue. So I'm thinking like he has a drinking problem. We're mean to each other. It's just not working. But I'm married. What are people going to think of me? What is the people in my town going to think of me? Like, we didn't even reach the year mark yet. We were close, but didn't reach it. What are my parents going to think? They're Christian. You're not supposed to do that. That's a sin. You can't get a divorce. That's a sin. We got married under God. So I just wasn't happy. I was telling my family, and they told me, do what you need to do. And that's exactly what I needed to hear. They told me they would be there for me no matter what. And that's great. I needed that. And you would think like they would give me a hard time. They surprisingly didn't. My sister was really there for me, and my mom. She understood. His mom, oh my God, she was rooting for it to happen. My mom knew it was going on, but she kept saying, like, try, like, keep trying. Like, even though I told her some of the stuff that he did that was so unforgivable, and like, she would get pissed off at some of the stuff, but she knew that I was just as bad. But his mom was, oh, that girl that you're with is a piece of trash. She talked down to me so much, like, and even accused me of having an orgy. But yeah, it was a lot of stuff to handle when you have a mother-in-law that doesn't want you together. My mom wants me to keep trying. I don't know if this guy has a drinking problem because he won't admit to it because his pride is too much. I wanted to go get help. I wanted to go see a counselor, but or a therapist, but he wouldn't do it. I really, really did try. And he went to go stay with his brother, and he moved a lot of his clothes. So he was staying there, and there was one night, like, I constantly begged for him back. Like, I was begging for him back. It was already too late. He moved in with his brother twice. The first time I begged for him back, I begged for him to come back, and he did, and we slowly started working things out. But there was something in my gut feeling saying, like, something's not right. Of course, I was crazy. I snooped through his phone. I snooped through everything. And he was messaging this girl